Hey gang, I am back, and in that last video, we learned how the map method works under the hood, and I hope it helps you understand it a little bit better, and I hope it helps you understand better why we can pass a function into map and get each element of the array. We can also, of course, get each index if we want to do something with that, and that's a tremendously powerful thing. We're passing a function in and we're getting something back. And I think it's a great time now to talk about something called an event listener. So I'm going to start actually by coming in here. I'm going to change this back from that array that we just wrote to the index.js. And we'll see in here, I need to get rid of that because we're about to do that. We've got all these balls that we drew to the screen. Now, oftentimes on the internet, one of the things we love about it is we can create interactivity. And that's what JavaScript was really designed to do. Right now, there's nothing interactive about this. I want to be able to click on one of these balls and do something with it. So I need a way to capture those click events in this window. The way we do that is with the Event Listener API. And it's one of a number of APIs. I will probably make a number of more videos about different APIs, like the Fetch API for fetching documents. We've already been using this document, the DOM API. There's one for web audio. There's one for lots of different things. Web speech, geolocation. You can see there's a gamepad. There's so many different sort of extensions onto the browser. And right now, the one we're interested in is the event listener. And so the event listener will give us back an event. And it's going to be a lot like what just happened with our map method. I'll show you how we can write that. So I went in here and I changed this to the index. So now we're back on this index. And I'm going to put it in here where we're creating a div. So remember, we make these balls, which is some data that's got a position and a color. And it's also got this alive value, which I haven't been using, but at some point I might. And then we map those balls, that data, into divs. And then for each div, we are just displaying it on the screen. Now, what I want to do here is I want to, in this create div function, I'm going to add my event listener to each div. So we're going to say div.add event listener. And here again is a function that is now part of, it's available to me on this div because it's a div. Anything that's part of the DOM has this add event listener method as a function that's stored in there. And we can actually see that if we log out the div. But I want to stick with what I'm doing here, and I want to pass some stuff into this add event listener function. We're going to create an event listener that's going to listen for this first thing. It's going to be a click. And we could have hover, we can have mouse enter. There's a bunch of different things we can listen for, but a click is a good place to start. So when this div receives a click message, I'm going to run a function. And now you see why I have emphasized functions so much. I hope at this point after these videos you feel pretty comfortable with this syntax. This function we're going to pass into add event listener, and add event listener is going to supply us with an event. So we can console.log that event. Before we go any farther, we'll go back to our browser. We'll look at these divs, and when I click, I get a pointer event back. If I click on any one of these, it'll give me a pointer div back. Now, how do we tell the difference between whether this one was clicked or this one was clicked? That is using a key called target. And each one of these targets will correspond to the one that was clicked. So event dot target gives us back the target of that click, and we can take a look at that. We'll just click on that and we get this particular div. If we click here, this one should be pinkish, and it is higher red value, or purplish, I guess. And that's a different one. There's another one. So we're getting each one. And we can do a couple of things now. We can, when we receive that, I'll say we want to set event.target.style background color equals get random color. So now every time I click, we'll get a new color. We could also do event.target.style.display equals none. And now that will go away. Neat, right? Okay, well that's your basic introduction to event listeners. You can learn a lot more about event listeners at the Event Listener API. And you can see there's a lot of different, here you can browse through and you can see a lot of different events that are possible. You can see, and I think it's in, where was that pointer event we were just looking at? You know, somewhere in here we can find all of the different, there we go, mouse event. Out, Alt key. These are all different things that we can do with our event listeners. We have keyboard events. We can do a lot of different things, and we'll get into that, you know, in class a little bit. But I think that's enough on event listeners for now. In the next video, what I want to do is talk about a different thing, which is this thing called the window, and some of the things that are available to us